along with my beloved Dr. Mansi Shah. We are extremely passionate about in-person communities. Let's see, anyone who's not speaking, if you kindly mute. We do the Community Architects Gathering every second and fourth Wednesday of each month, in which we're honored to bring on a guest expert, whom I'll be introducing shortly today's session. Each guest expert is somebody who has had a lot of success and a lot of impact with creating in-person communities. With the explosion of big tech across the last decade plus, especially with a recent explosion of AI, it's our firm belief that the importance of in-person connection is greater now than it's ever been, certainly for your business. And we're not alone in believing this. Mark Cuban has made some big moves with the in-person event space, and the retreats industry has exploded concurrently. This is no accident. So that's why we devote these sessions to be learning about what does it take to really make an in-person community thrive. Before we bring on our guest expert, I do want to introduce my beloved Dr. Mansi Shah, joining us from India. She'll be returning shortly back to San Diego, which I'm very excited about. Honey, go ahead.
Hi, guys. I am so excited to be hosting my last one here and finally coming back to US. And I'm super excited for this call today with what we are about to dive in with Yanik. But before that, I want to share a little bit about the ARC and what we have built in the last few years, where we have poured our heart and soul into building a community, building our in person gathering hub, or the ARC, what is in our world a safe space for leaders to come together. Some of you on the call here in on this journey with us, and I'm about to open this, but it is taking a minute. But I would love to share about what we are doing at the ARC. Am I frozen?
Yes, you are frozen. Although I don't mind looking at you. The screen share was about to come on. Ella, if there's a way you could support that. Okay, honey, feel free to interrupt me anytime. Here's a few images from the ARC of our gathering. So we love bringing leaders together. As I see it, this is a sanctuary for the creator economy. So the speakers, event leaders, podcasters, YouTubers, where so much of our lives are behind screens, that's just the reality, yet our heart is with people. So that's what the ARC is about, is your hub, your home away from home. We have 6 retreats a year that we host, and we would love to have you at one of those. All right, since we're running a little bit behind, I actually would love to put you guys in breakout groups and give you a chance to get to know one another. So Ella, let's do breakout groups of 3, and we'll leave Yanik and Mansi with us in the main room. So Ella, if you could do breakout groups of 3, and here's your prompt, gang. Where are you on your community building journey? So just share, where are you on your community building journey? You're gonna have 6 minutes in your breakout groups, and then we'll come back quarter after. Okay, I'll just do it myself.
All right, I'm back, and I hope Working out.
I wanted
Linda,
to stay here because I wanted to give Mansi a big hug. I haven't seen you forever, my friend.
I know.
We've been holding down the fort with Jon without you.
I know it's been 170. Right now it's 168 days or so. 60.
So you have to come back in 22 days?
No, I have to come back in the country before 180 days. So
Okay.
that's why.
Okay.
Yanik, have you met
But
Linda Kane?
Yanik. I met Yanik a very, very long time ago, way back in my Adam Urbanski, Jack Canfield days. So happy to connect again and been following his escapades and travels around the world. So
Yes, Linda is our event mom. She's been our rock, our event producer since 2023, has done all of our retreats and very, very dear to us.
Yeah, amazing. That's great.
yeah, I just finished a retreat in Bali with James Nestor, who wrote the book Breath.
Mm-hmm.
We had 105 people travel to Bali from around the world. It was amazing, amazing retreat, really fun.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to hear what you had to say today and catch up.
All right, perfect.
And really, honestly, I know you're very popular and an important person, but I really had to see Mansi. I haven't seen her for almost 6 months, and so much has happened.
I think that's better. I love that.
Well, thank you, Linda. I feel really loved.
Did Jon tell you all the women changed your house around at the last retreat?
Yeah, I needed the female input, so I think you'll like it though, honey, and if not, take it up with them.
Shelly and I walked in and we're like, where's the yellow couch? It now lives where the orange couch was, and the orange couch now lives where the yellow couch is. But
we'll see. It might be just all right.
It actually weirdly, energetically felt so great. It was different, but I was like, have you told Mansi that the women are moving her house around?
Totally.
I was grabbing my Yanik Silver product here.
Oh, yes.
We have so much
journey.
Yes.
Nice.
We put these out, Yanik, at every retreat. We lay them out on the coffee table in one of the living rooms. And it's one of our like icebreaker things that we do. It's so much fun.
Great. Yeah, I'm glad you're.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Yanik, would you say that in your journey, starting from where you did to now, you are way more tapped in, you feel more spiritual, you're more, you're more connected to the source?
Well, in a way, I mean, I was always a very weird kid. At like 12 or 13, I was reading books about UFOs and sacred sites and all sorts of things.
Nice.
So it was very, very early on, and really didn't feel like I even belonged here. And then kind of put all that away, and then went into the business world, and then it was really like 2011, 2010 maybe, where it kind of like resurfaced again, culminating in 2012 when we brought a group to the Riviera Maya and actually had a ceremony there in a Mayan village. So it's definitely like a huge shift in what we're doing with Maverick, and kind of follow my own evolutionary journey for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I've noticed, Yanik, is that those who actually become more spiritual after 40, they were, as a kid, were spiritual. It's just, the marketing gimmicks and tactics, all of that, like got us into the hardcore business world. And we thought we had to be that way maybe for a minute. And then we're like, no, it doesn't really need to be that way.
Yeah. And I think, to me, the most interesting people are like those that hold multiple worlds and can really be these world bridgers and bring in, whether it's, let's say, indigenous wisdom, but then back to the modern world. Like I was just on the phone yesterday with one of my favorite people. She's an amazing indigenous elder and wisdom keeper, and she does that. And then other people that can bring in, what they're feeling or what they're downloading or what's coming in, and then bring it into the business world. Because to me, business is the greatest lever for making a difference in the world. It's just how do we bring that in that it works for everyone.
Totally.
Yeah.
Love that. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
You've been in India for a long time. What are you doing there?
Well, family wealth and just kind of getting a lot of stuff done, because I have not been in India for almost 9-10 years. So catching up, my parents are like, we're getting older, like we got all these things, who's going to manage it? So just staying back to get a lot of paperwork and my name added as a co-owner with them, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
The 40s are kicking in.
Mia, Mia on our team, John, right? Mia?
Yeah.
So same thing. It's interesting because those of us who don't have family living international, we might have a relative or two, but we don't have like the generational family living international. We we often forget what it really takes to, when those parents and family members get into the elderly part, who's going to manage their property, their assets, their things that they're doing. Because like here with my mom and my parents, it was easy because it was in our backyard, and we were neighbors, and it was easy to manage, and you live in this small little nucleus. But when you have a whole thing like that you have to go and take care of, it's not like you can just go for a couple weeks and come back. It really does put you out for 4 or 5 months. Yeah. And then you'll have to come back, and then you'll have to go do it again. Once you've started this process, there'll have to be I know my other clients that do the same thing. They now have like 2 months out of the year that they have to go back to their home country and take care of things. And it's just now part of their routine, that they do. So, yeah.
That's what it's looking like to me too. And the opportunities
international
in India.
travel and international life,
Yeah. Also, the opportunities in India coming from a developing country to becoming an infrastructure that's going to be world class. It's massive, the opportunity with the market here. So we're just, between the two worlds.
Yeah. I did it.
All right. The gang's back.
Recording in progress.
All right. Welcome back, gang. And we are going to just roll right into it because we have hard out on top of the hour. Today's featured guest expert. I met Yanik through a joint venture gathering hosted by Pete Vargas about 10 years ago. And gang, one of the pleasant surprises that can come about on your journey is when you get into these rooms and you've been following someone for a long time and heard their name so many times. And when you meet them, I'll just focus on the positive. Sometimes they really just strike you by how humble and just awesome they are. And this is one of those cases. And so down to earth, and just his love of people is so palpable. We reconnected recently through Rudy Rodriguez, who has a high profit event show podcast. He hosted a JV gathering online, and Yanik kindly sent me this tarot deck after our Zoom call. And before I read his official bio, I did take the liberty of pulling from his tarot deck a card that reads this: synchronicity is a love letter from the universe across time and space.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
I love that, because it's happening so much these days, Yanik. That's such a great definition to have when it happens again, because this is coming up in our world a lot, using the synchronicity word.
I love the synchronicities. And just a quick amendment, not a tarot deck, John, but an oracle deck. So it doesn't follow the major arcana and so forth. Just a little
Oracle
bit.
deck.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that distinction.
Yeah.
All right, again, I'm going to read this official bio and then we'll bring him on. Yanik Silver has been called a cosmic catalyst, a maverick mischief maker, and a galactic goofball. He redefines how business is played in the 21st century at the intersection of evolutionary growth, impact, and fun. Yanik is the creator of the Cosmic Journal, author of Evolve Enterprise, and the founder of Maverick 1000, a global collective of visionary entrepreneurs making a serious difference in the world without taking themselves too seriously. In fact, it's not unusual to find them dressed as a lemur. This is interesting. A showgirl, or even in matching mermaid tails with Sir Richard Branson. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Yanik Silver.
Thanks, John.
All right, welcome, Yanik. I'm going to spotlight Mansi as well. So we always love to start the Community Architects Gathering by asking, where did this passion for in-person gatherings start with you?
Great question. Maverick started from, I had already been doing events in the online space and the digital marketing space, but Maverick really started as a response to a very simple question, which was, am I happy? Would I be happy doing what I'm doing 10 years from now? And it was, really fascinating, right? Because it was making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, doing a lot of things that you would look at from the outside and be like, oh, he's got it all figured out. But it just didn't feel like my fullest expression. And so in my journal, I'm a big journaler. And in my journal, I just created these 3 interconnected circles, which was a $, a happy face, and a heart, and put them all together. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what I want to do. I just want to hang out with other entrepreneurs, and we're going to, help each other make more money, have more fun, give more back. And it's since evolved into growth impact fund, where the $ is a tree, but it's still the same essence. And so it came from that, and it just came from really scratching my own itch. So originally it was a Baja Dune buggy trip that I like putting the stake in the ground and being like, okay, let's go figure it out. And so I brought like 36 entrepreneurs to Mexico to go dune buggy racing together. And we lost about $40,000 on that first event, but we can talk more about that. But it was the start of something that really had forced me to do it.
Well, we always love hearing about the first one because some people are considering their first one right now. So was the intention of that one just to bring people together, and you already had the established business, so it wasn't really the pressure on to make money from it?
Well, it was always going to be a money maker, but it was, the margins, the business model is completely different than, when you're selling information or products, or even like when I was doing events in a seminar room versus actually multi-day. This wasn't a retreat necessarily, but it was an adventure, right? So it was really designed around adventure travel. And again, it was like scratch my own itch. I wanted to go do high adrenaline, unique adventures. And so, yeah, I wasn't concerned. I was like, yeah, it's an investment. When it got to about $400,000, my wife's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. So then
$400,000 is the production cost, or
of just of investing into it and not seeing anything come out of it. And so that was for me. Everyone has like a different mark, right? So me, the other company was sort of had the open checkbook to pay for the rest of the stuff, and so, but it did force me to get really clear that I didn't want to build just an adventure travel company. Like that wasn't what the true mission of it was. And so it really forced me to go back to my why. Like I could have easily sort of gone back to the internet world. I'd been starting to since it wasn't in full alignment, like I was shutting down things, I was turning off my mastermind, I was getting rid of other things. And it was just like, okay, this is the first thing that hasn't worked, and I feel more committed to it. So what is it? And it really forced me to go back and dig into my reason why. And the reason why was not to just build an adventure travel company, but to change the way business is played. And so it really changed what we were doing, how we looked at it. And then I asked my 111-year-old self, what do I need to know when things are kind of going sideways? And so there's a card in that Oracle deck about your 111-year-old self. And so you use your non-dominant hand, your left hand for most people, and you would answer. And then my answer was light 1,000 suns. We each have the potential to light another 1,000 suns. And I'm like, oh, that's really, really interesting. And so that really changed where we were going with Maverick, and changed the name of it to Maverick 1000 to really change this idea that we wanted to help these entrepreneurs become bigger and brighter suns so that they could have ripples of impact out into the world and what they're doing. And so it just changed a lot of things. But the in-person, has always been the magic. Like you can't duplicate that online, really. I mean, people have tried in all different ways, but there's just something so magical about being in person. And gathering people in person is one thing, but then it's like, how do you architect what happens? That's also a big part of the magic.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll
John always says,
Go ahead.
John always says, Yanik, that the day in person, the day online sex is as good as in person sex. Is when
then you'll know
online
that
events
it's
are better than offline events.
well,
And
well, I
that day
mean, maybe you have to get like some sort of haptic suit or something. I don't know what it's going to take to make that happen.
You never know with the AI world anymore, but
Yeah.
So we love digging deeper into our why. And would you say that's when things really turned around, was when you saw, wow, to really galvanize people in person, for them to block out the time, to make the investment, to be there with you in person multiple days? There has to be a big friggin' why that's really igniting your soul and will ignite the soul of others. And did that correlate with you then making money at the events?
It was, well, we were getting people before, like it wasn't a problem to get people in. It was just, there wasn't as big of a mission and a purpose behind it and what it looked like. And then also just like treating it more like a like a business was probably part of it as well. And also, yeah, my energy connected to it and committed to it was definitely a big thing. You know, Maverick has always been, you know, it's been 18 years. It's pretty wild. It's, you know, it's been going on for a while. It's had its own, you know, evolutionary path as well. And but people really connect to it because of, you know, there's a couple of things we can talk about, right? Like, so the identity, and I think that's a big thing. So when people are building communities or creating their retreats or whatever, but thinking about it as a community, I like where it's, yes, the big mission, big purpose, that should be something that really becomes the way that people can decide if they should be a part of it or not. I actually have a whole chapter or section in Evolved Enterprise about community building, and I'll pull that out or even give you guys a copy that you can distribute, John, if you want, for everyone. But in there, one of the big things is for sure the mission, and then it is like identity, right? So I'm almost embarrassed to say, so I really wanted the initials to be MBA, like that's kind of like a play on that you're going to get your MBA. And so originally I even have like logo mock-ups of it. And thank goodness I didn't go much further with it, but it was going to be called Millionaire Business Adventures. And I'm like, all right, thank goodness I did not go with that, because it's just not even close to the same thing. So then, you know, I was thinking about M, and I'm like, yeah, Maverick, that feels so much better. And then what I almost accidentally tapped on was that there's a deep affinity or identity there. And so in your community, if you can create an identity like, I am a Maverick, or I am a Tedster, I am a Trekkie, or I am a Parrot Head, you know, just for Jimmy Buffett, or, you know, these kind of identities are really powerful, especially if you can put, you know, if they can say, I am a whatever in front of it. So if you allow, and it's partially aspirational, right? Because Maverick implies I'm a trailblazer, I'm someone that is really pushing the path forward and so forth. And it's really, really powerful. And, you know, you've hit on something powerful when, you know, very early on, we had someone that wanted to tattoo there's a hand that's part of the logo. They wanted to tattoo the hand on their body. It was going to be on their ass. So I'm like, nah, maybe not. Let's not do that. But it does mean that it was, you know, a really strong brand. And that's one of the things that you want to think about. And so I came from copywriting way back as my background. So words are so powerful, right? So when you're thinking about communities, you know, those words and who they are, and that's one powerful aspect for sure.
I love that you moved away from millionaire.
Yeah, it was on the drawing board for like a millisecond, but you know, I just bring it up too.
The reason I bring that up is because, gang, we've all seen so many groups out there that lead with like the Billionaires Club or something like that, right? And just kind of notice how the identity is not very strong, because how unoriginal is that, really? To say like you want to make a shit ton of money, like this is the group for you, when that's the unifying force. Not surprisingly, it might attract some shady characters, right? Who'll do whatever it takes, step on others to get ahead, right? That's not a culture I would want to be a part of. However, the Maverick spirit, for me, being a Tom Cruise Top Gun fan, that doesn't hurt either. I definitely self-identify with that, and I would assert that a lot of others here do as well. So before we get to the architecting of the experience, we'd love to learn more about the business models. So when did it really click for you? What have you discovered in terms of the business model of in-person events, having a paid community? What can you share with us about that?
Sure. I mean, we've tried a lot of different models, and, you know, I don't even know for sure if we're on the exact right model right now, but what we've come to is, we've tried all sorts of things, and right now, the big difference is we really committed to this idea of Mavericks Wanted. Like, we want Mavericks of media, Mavericks of tech, Mavericks of food, Mavericks of medicine, all different categories. And then we want to support them and nourish them and love them to their fullest, brightest potential, and then help them collaborate and come together. So we've really kind of gone a little bit of the opposite way, where we want it's a membership group, but the membership fees are pretty low, where it's $5,500 a year. And then the idea is if you want to come to something, then that costs additional, but you save at least $5,000 on every event. So the idea is it's better than free from the people that you meet, or the ideas that you get, or the experiences you have. So that's kind of what we've landed on. And so, again, I've done all different ways, where it was, a high price and it included different retreats. I've done it where it's, like this, where it's more a la carte. And so for where we are right now, it just feels like that's the spot that we want to be in, is not make it a decision that you want to be in this group versus, any other group. Like, we want to actually play with other groups. So when that vision came to me, the 1,000 Suns lighting 1,000 suns, it's really, originally I thought it was just about Maverick, but really it's grown into collaborating with other communities and networks and so forth, and nodes, where that's where the 1,000 Suns lighting 1,000 suns really comes in, this constellation, or this mycelium meshwork. So we want members to be part of other groups and introduce them to other things happening.
It makes total sense, because we have such big hearts, obviously, of bringing people together. So to be partnering with other communities and community leaders, can you share with us what some of those partnerships look like?
Yeah, sometimes it's really just being cheerleaders and supporting each other. Sometimes it's providing discounts to each other's groups and members. It's inviting each other to events and experiences, so they can get to understand what we're doing and how to play in our ecosystems. It's really just, it's common sense of like just being friends. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, it's not that different than, how would you treat a friend? And I want people that obviously share the same values. Like, we believe, so, the values are important. So the culture piece is important. Like you were asking, John, about like, if we figured out the model, and that was how we started becoming profitable. The big thing, which actually led to the writing of Evolved Enterprise, was meeting all these different icons, and then some that are kind of unknown icons, and then just seeing the puzzle pieces come together of a bigger meaning, purpose, vision, and culture was a big thing. And I never, I started again as a direct response marketer, so culture wasn't something I really paid attention to. It was obviously via osmosis in the ways that we operated, but like, it became much clearer when I would talking to, let's say, Tony Hsieh, who recently passed from Zappos, and that was all he talked about, and Chip Conley from Joie de Vivre Hotels, who owns Modern Elder Academy now. Like, they would talk about culture, and so that was a big thing. And culture is either intentional or unintentional, and so that really showed up in how we show up as well. So we want community collaboration with those that share our values and culture, and a big part of it is those that believe business can be the greatest lever for making a difference in the world, and actually ultimately believe they can nudge consciousness.
As I'm listening to you, I'm really present to how this really calls forward such a well-roundedness as a business leader when we are leading tribe, which we denote as in-person gatherings, and that you had to really get into your own highest vibration, was your joy, your excitement, which led you to go to that trip that you mentioned in the beginning. And then the frequency holding throughout of like, okay, who are the people that really light me up, where there's a true friendship there? Like, you would hang out with this person and have meals with them. If not, then they probably shouldn't be at your events. And that to me is the strength of Maverick in many ways. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it, I think you get better at discerning as you go through the process, and then obviously your values and your culture help define that. And the more you define it, the better for sure it is. But you do have to continue using your gut and intuition about who should be in, who should be out, and that's the other thing too, is sometimes if the decision is just via the pocketbook, right? Like, if you're charging a very high price for somebody, then, and if you're in a spot where you really need to make that income, then you might say yes to someone that you probably should have said no to. And there's been times when we'll be like, oh yeah, we made a mistake. And then the good thing is that our core nucleus is so strong that it kind of like ejects out those that aren't a fit. But you want to have those guardrails in place, ideally ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. All right. So before we open it up, would love to hear any key insights about the experience design for your events. I know you've been partnering with Richard Branson and doing events in Necker Island recently. So love to hear more about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to also bring in, so Sophia, her name is Sophia Yamansky, who's our, we call her our chief experience architect. And she's actually my family as well. So our moms are identical twins. So it's been fun to work with family, but she is, a master at this experience design. And so it's really great to be able to work with her on it. And this is truly her gift. So we combine and collaborate on it. You mentioned Necker. We've actually, I think we're the longest standing group to run events there. We just finished our 15th retreat there, or experience, and including raising over $3 million there for the different charities that we support. So again, our 3 pillars are growth, impact, fun, and we take each of those pretty seriously. So the impact could be mentoring young entrepreneurs there on the island. It could be working with young, or not young entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs in the BVIs. It could be, we've had some really interesting projects like sinking an old World War II ship and turning it into an artificial reef. And that was really incredible. And with a gigantic Kraken on top of it, that was built by some of our members who are burners and build Burning Man art cars. So, just really incredible stuff. And then we look at, Necker is an incredible place by itself, right? It's Richard Branson's home. It's one of the epitomes for entrepreneurs to go there, and one of these once in a lifetime experiences. And so lots of groups now are starting to go there. But we look at that almost like base level, like the island itself is incredible. And then what we do on top of it is where it gets really, really magical. And again, this is, Sophia's magic, and we collaborate on this, but the Necker team, sees what we do, and they're stretched. And then they'll a lot of times they'll take what we do and then add it as like a menu item for other groups or things like that, because it's so creative or so interesting the way we do it. We take a theme and really play it out through the entire week, and then think about it as an arc that would happen. And think about it as like these wows and these surprise and delight moments that happen. And at some point you need to bring Sophia on and let her share the way that she thinks about it and the way she operates in that. And the experiences are just really, really incredible. So I believe in like part structure, part synchronicity. And it's great, that you pulled out that card, right? The structure is having, enough time that there are pieces, that what people get. And I like going the opposite way, and by the way, that's one of my favorite sort of guiding principles, right? So when I started the Underground Seminar, which I ran for 10 years, it was a really big, event in the digital marketing space, very high end. I went the opposite direction, which was I'm going to have unknown speakers come and share what they're doing, how they're making money online. They're not polished. They're going to get up. A lot of them, this is their first time ever speaking. They're going to be scared. And then we spent a ton on stage design. It was like $50,000 on stage design, which wasn't necessary at that time. People are doing just regular drape or whatever that's called, like, right, curtains and drape. But we would spend a ton on design to make it a unique experience. And what happened out of that was there's so many people loved that experience, and it made it a spy theme. And people would be like, oh my God, Yanik, you introduced me to my business partner at Underground. And I'm like, I didn't do that, but it was the event itself that created the sandbox and then they give me credit for that because of the unique experience. And so that's one of the ways that we think about what we do, is creating that unique sandbox where it's part structure, part synchronicity of what's going to happen there.
I love it. A lot of energetic alignment with us at the ARC. Mansi, do you have any questions for Yanik before we open it up?
No, let's open it up. I want everyone else to make their voice heard.
All right. Who has a question for Yanik? Generally, we favor our ARC members first. So if you are in the ARC and you have a question, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go from there. Okay, Scotty O, we're going to bring you on.
Hello, Yanik. Yeah, I'm Scotty O, and I just want to say I love everything you said and your energy and what you're bringing to this. I am actually kind of a love life maverick. And so I focus on helping people improve their lives and their love life specifically. And so I've got lots of questions. I'd be really excited to get your community builder report. Can you give us a kind of glimpse on like what's the most important things about developing and growing a community? Besides the things you've already mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. My favorite way to grow a community is via the community, right? So like the right people, I always say great people know other great people. But a lot of times we think that's going to happen naturally, and it will sometimes, but other times it's like, how do we make it almost like impossible for someone not to share? So, if you think about let's say it's an in-person event or something like that, is there one big moment that is almost like they have to share? And so that's going to create an opportunity where they're going to be like, oh yeah, I went to this thing with Scotty O, and here's what we did, and I can't believe it. There were horses there, and that's the way we learned our love language, or whatever it is, right? So like they'll have to do that. The other thing is I love sending people back with like artifacts. And so it's been really fun. As a kid, I wanted to be a professional hockey player, and then a cartoonist in the off season was my goal. And then I did not get into the NHL. And then my art has been coming back in the last couple of years. And so like things like this, where this was sitting on my desk, and we gave that to everyone who attended Necker a couple of years ago. We did it for camp a few years back as well. And so like these artifacts are really interesting because they could be something on your wrist, that people would talk about. It could be, a piece of jewelry or something like that, or it could be I think the desk is the new altar. And so if you can have something that's really created, that's amazing, then again, they're going to talk about it. And also as simple as asking people, ideally in a spot where they're, the happiest about what happened. So, but anytime is really, like, people do want to help you, especially if they've gotten great value out of what you're doing. So just ask them. And the other thing that we've done with our community is every new member is vetted by the community. So we send out new members to the community so they can say yes or no. And, maybe they have a bad experience with someone. And so that creates more ownership in that way as well.
Got it. When we say ask people to spread the word, or ask people?
No, ask them just very specifically. Hey, I know, like the way I do it all the time is, let's say I'm talking to someone and they're thinking about coming to Necker Island with us. I'm like, hey, great people know other great people. The way we love to fill this is with those kind of people. So do you know someone that you think would be a good fit for this? Like, just very easy, very specific, and then just be quiet. And let them share. They're like, oh yeah, I might know one or two people. I'm like, great, well, introduce us.
What's your view on financially incentivizing them, Yanik?
Great question, John. Most of the time, no. I don't believe in it, and because then it becomes more transactional. Now, if you have I have several like key partners that's our deal, right? So it might be other community members or something like that, and then because they could bring multiple partners in. But a lot, like if it's just an attendee and they're like, oh, I know this guy that should be with us, like I wouldn't do that. But I do like surprising them with something, and ideally it's something that they, it might be a cool gift, like a unique experience or something like that. Just recently, we had one of our members refer two people, and she's an underwater photographer. And what we did was we went out of our way to, on Necker Island in their gift shop, we worked it out that she could display her photography there and sell it. And she was just like, over the top, over the moon about it, right? So there's no way she could have done that herself. And it was just like a great thing for us to reward her. And we also did that in front of the group. So then it was kind of like it's like, hey, this is what happens sometimes when you introduce people. So that's one thing. And we've done referral contests sometimes with members. And one of the fun ones that we did was a billboard in New York Times Square. And so you can rent billboards pretty inexpensive sometimes for remnant space, or other times because now they're all digital. So you can rent them for like 10 minutes or something like that, or 5 minutes at a time. And then that was, again, like these fun, interesting things that they're not going to do on their own. But it was really, something that would give them a big, like, oh, look at me, I'm on, on a billboard in Times Square.
Thank you.
Anything else, Scotty? We'll give someone else a shot now.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. One moment, Rachel. Question about how you run it by the existing members. Anyone who's a new member, what's that process?
Pretty simple. Actually, hold on. I'm just putting the link into, if you guys won't, if you just keep this private. I think this link is still up. You can double check it. But that's the link to the actual full Evolved Enterprise book. And then there's a whole section chapter in there on community building. The way we run it by them is pretty simple. It's like we'll just put up their bio and send out an email and just saying, hey, we need your response by this date. And most of the time it's just like, yeah, looks good. You know, not everyone's going to respond, but we give them the opportunity to say yes or no. Like you know, one of the things that can happen in a group is that trust can be eroded, especially if there's, you know, someone in there that you've done business with, or something has happened that you don't want to see happen again, or you don't trust that person. Then it just reduces the vulnerability and authenticity in the group, and that really hurts.
Mm-hmm. And there's opportunity for them to share, not only at the wedding, if you have something that you're opposed to, speak now or forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
All right, gang. Put your hands up if you've got a question for Yanik. Rachel, let's bring you on. Rachel Heslin, you are on.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to what Yanik was saying about referrals and things like that. And I was really getting a sense that it's instead of a transactional tit for tat, you refer someone, we pay you type stuff, it's more of an analog human. We are into this, we express appreciation for each other. And when everybody keeps pouring into the community, it just grows in general.
Yeah.
And I love that organic, dynamic approach rather than just the transactional.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say something about it.
Yeah, and the other thing that it's been coming up recently is that we'll kind of like share who a new member has come from, and we start using this word where it's like, oh, you know, so and so's Raul's lineage, and that, you know, and then it makes Raul look good if that person is a great contributing member and shares and is, you know, they're actually providing value for the group. And then reverse, right? If there's something that they're like, well, that person didn't quite work out. Scotty Mendes said in the chat, does it need to be unanimous approval? So if there's, you know, we've had this very rarely, but usually there might be one, a maybe or a no, then we'll kind of come back to them and say why. And then sometimes it could be just, well, you know, general vibe, or it's a very specific thing, then yeah, we'll say no to them. But it doesn't, there's not like a specific number, like two no's equals, you know, whatever. It's just like what's happening. I mean, most of the times it's like, yeah, they sound great, but because we've already vetted them, it's not like they're coming in cold. Like they're not just applying. Like we have a whole conversation with them before they even get to that spot.
Jan, can you give us a sense of your team that you have around you and the different phases from when you started to what it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty lean, where I look at a lot of our events as like productions, right? So we're going to expand for who we need on the ground and who the experts are in a particular place. Like, you know, we just got back from a retreat in Mexico City and Teotihuacan, and I don't even know how to say it, Tepsalan, which is another sacred city, and then back to Mexico City. So we have a core events team, which is Sophia and one more woman, Glenda. But then the events team expands based on who we need on the ground. And then they're the ones who are figuring out who do we need on the ground. And then back end, we have a community catalyst, who's our community manager. And then we have kind of like a altogether general operations person. And then that's really about it. And then a few sort of outsourced, you know, tech and other things like that. So it doesn't need to be huge to support people, to support a community.
All right, Jenny Edwards, you're on.
Hello, hi Yanik.
Hi, Jenny.
I'm excited to be here today, and I actually got to attend one of your events that you did with Stacey Lauren, and so it's good to see you here. And I love the alignment with Jon and Mansi too. I just led a retreat, a branding retreat for photos and videos in Colorado, and Stacy was there, and she actually brought up your name a few times. It's like, yay.
Oh, nice.
Great,
Is that the
Yanik,
one?
Yanik.
Was Anita there?
Yeah, and Anita was there too.
Okay, great. I just talked to her.
Awesome. And I wanted to share, oh, first of all, and it's super cool because I've had this photo of Richard Branson, like a painting of Richard Branson on my wall for years now. As being a world leader, I have like a collection of world leader portraits. And so now I have like 2 degrees of separation of Richard Branson, and I get to hear all these. So I'm like, I'm going to manifest an experience in the future.
That's the way it works. I mean, I put in my life list way back. I wrote, have lunch with Richard Branson, and now it's turned into like 50 lunches with Richard.
That's so good. That's so good. And a couple things stood out to me that I loved about when you were speaking. First of all, that you mentioned in your bio about being seen possibly in a costume, and then the mermaid tails and the thing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna, because I love costumes too, and different characters and archetypes. I'm like, I'm gonna add that into my bio. So I love the imagination and creativity that you bring to your whole presence and what you share, and that's totally in alignment for me as being joyful Jenny. And I wanted to ask a question because based on what you were naming, the naming convention about your Maverick and that whole thing, because I have a monthly retainer package that I was calling like the ultimate brand. Like that seems so like ultimate brand. Doesn't feel to align with my level of joy. Oh, there's an echo.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get your thoughts on kind of the naming convention or something that you would recommend, because obviously what you're speaking into with like, I am a maverick, like my business is guided by imagination, but like how did you get to that point and getting people enrolled in being in alignment with that kind of embodiment?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't, unless the offering is a little bit more community based or cohort based, and you don't totally have to think about it around that identity piece. But the name itself is powerful, right? Because names have a lot of power. Every word has a vibration. I do believe our words create our world. And so, even you saying, that the ultimate, what you call it, ultimate branding package or ultimate, like,
Yes.
and just the way you say it, you're like, like it doesn't get you excited, and I think, so I love this idea of like something people know, and then something that they're like a little bit, okay, I don't 100% know what that is, right? So Evolved Enterprise, the book I wrote, like, I don't know now, it's been 8 years ago. Like everyone knows what an enterprise is, but what's an evolved enterprise? Like, that sounds kind of cool. I want to see what that means, and I understand what evolution means. So that sounds like it's kind of in there. So it's like you can merge 2 things together like that, so that it becomes your own. I also do love. That's one of the things that we didn't talk about for communities. It's in the Evolved Enterprise book I just shared with everyone, but language, like unique language. So we use things like Maverick moments, and that's at the end of our events. We have kind of a recap where everyone can share like what was a Maverick moment that happened. And a lot of times these things show up organically. You just have to be aware of them showing up, and then make that into a ritual, or make that into something that's memorialized. But unique language really does have a lot to do with people feeling like they belong to kind of an in group. And so when you're just thinking of it as I don't know, is your ultimate branding package, is it a course? Is it a group together? What is the?
No, it's actually a series of videos that I make for the company or business over the course of the month. So it's like a retainer package, and to help them grow. So I become kind of like their growth strategist. And
so it's one-on-one custom work for them, but they're not part of a community, or they're not part of a cohort together.
Right. I do have a separate mastermind though, that's for that. So maybe more of the things for
but I mean, all those are really good. Use your imagination and see what turns you on, what gets you excited, and where you're energized, and that's going to feel good. But also, like, don't make it so far out there that people don't know what the heck it is. Like it kind of has to come back to like, everyone knows what branding is. So then it's like, okay, well, maybe using branding, but then again, that other piece,
another word.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, so with our last few minutes, let's hear a few maverick moments from our session with Yanik today. What are you leaving with from today's session that's made a difference for you and your community? Jazz, your hand is up. We'll need you to turn your video on, Jazz.
Oh, okay. Sure. Thank you for having me on. Can you guys see me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I actually had a question first, but I just feel like I'm kind of a do good. Like people always come to me and they'll say, "Wow, you're just positive," and they just kind of like I just get that every day, right? Which is great. And I say kindness is really the only thing we can do. But in business, even when people set out to do good things, I find them when they turn their face, they're like become monstrous, and I don't understand that part at all. Like, and I really, even when I'm speaking here with a question, I really treat the world with kindness, but especially I think for women, right? That we often get a contract and then we are not honored with the contract and with the people we least expect it from. I just kind of want to throw it out there. Like, I love the feel good and, we're all up, and I use, beautiful language, positive language. And I know people say, well, it's your karma. But I feel like I pretty much like exhausted all of that. So I just want to say that. And then I feel like you guys give me a lot of hope. And by the way, every time I'm on this channel is always by coincidence. I actually almost don't know anybody on this channel. And I know you're all very famous and very accomplished. And I'm just directed here. Like the last time you guys had it also. And I find this like kind of like nirvana, like heaven on earth. I'm sorry for the prolongedness, but I don't really have like exact maverickness. I'm a semiconductor process engineer by training, entrepreneurial. I'm an investor. I'm all of that, right? So, and I've done it, right? I'm traceable on, on the internet. I speak at, family office conferences. I'm also grouping with some people doing what we're doing here. But I just feel like we need to come together, right? I feel like the good force need to like come together, kind of like the Jedi force or something, But I feel like separated, we're just defeated by I think there's a spiritual war going on. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like there's so many devils in angel spaces. So I'm sorry for the prolonged conversation. I just feel like when we're here doing the human thing, we need to honor the contract, because otherwise we're put in a place where it's not necessary. And I see a lot of women nodding here. I just feel like we should come together with the solution, AI automated contract or whatever, AI automatic attorney, just so that people know we have backing behind us and like positive force. So that's kind
thank
of
you so much for sharing.
my comment and question. Thank you.
I want to see if Yanik has anything to respond back to what you
I do have a quick one. I know we're top of the hour here, Jazz, but I will share with you, this Jedi Council, it sounds like that might be yours to do. And even if it starts with 2 people that you love and trust, right? It doesn't have to be the whole world. And then again, like other great people know other great people. So that's where it can expand, but it doesn't need to be 500 people right away or 100 people. Like those that you love and you trust fully, and then you start from there, and then it's going to grow. And then that's the way you create what you want to see.
Yeah. And Jazz, there's another
amazing.
To be here,
Thank
by
you.
the way, we're at a synchronicity.
Yeah, that's right. You were here for a reason.
Yes, synchronicity. Yes, I actually screenshotted it so I can let my tribe know. Actually, so
thanks, Jazz.
Yeah, I'm all about extinct. Jumped into this virtual world. Yes, thank you.
So, what can you share with us as a way to stay connected? Any upcoming events?
Yeah, we have, if you're a 7, 8, 9-figure founder, we have an upcoming event in Sedona in October, and then we do NECRA every year. So next year is March again. And, just reach out to me if that's something interesting. I do this, I'm just sticking in the chat, which is a daily email. I don't know, John, if you get it or not, but I do that drawing that I posted in the chat is every day I'll do a drawing, this new Sunspark, this idea, again, of suns. So my whole life is dedicated to planting seeds, lighting suns, and playing with the infinite blooms that come out of it. And so that's one of those seeds that I plant every day. And yeah, I mean, I'm available at instant, so happy to connect.
All right, wonderful, Yanik. Thanks so much for being
Okay.
here, for modeling leadership at such a heart-based level, and the creativity and the genuine care you have for every single person, feeling seen, being uplifted. This is why we do it, gang. It's to showcase leaders like Yanik. And I love some of these maverick moments that you
Yeah.
shared here.
Thanks,
Great people
everyone,
know
for that.
other great people. So true. Scotty, you had a great share in there as well.
Yeah.
All right, gang.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Mansi.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Yanik. It was lovely having you, and we hope to see you
Absolutely.
at some point. So
Yes.
we will
Okay.
get together.
Perfect. All right. Talk soon. Bye.
Take care.
All right, gang. So we'll stay on for another couple minutes. If anyone has any questions or breakthroughs that they want to share, we will be gathering the second Wednesday of June. We have a surprise guest, which means that I won't tell you what it means, but it's going to be awesome. So that'll be our next one. And then as far as the ARC, we have our June 5th through 7th is our next retreat here. That is what we call an emergence retreat, which is very organic, 48 hours, come together and play. And then our bigger one will be in July 9th through 11th. So contact us if you'd like to learn more. All right, anyone like to share any breakthroughs, insights, or anything that's in your space that might be lingering? Yes, go ahead and put that in the chat, honey, so they know where to subscribe to stay in the loop.
I just thought that was really powerful. I love the artifacts and the language and the identity as part of community building. So I'm definitely going to take that on. And I get to get a really fun, inspiring identity. So I'm excited about that.
I think that was awesome. And we'll move our spotlights here. In that you wore your very regal king's robe when we saw each other last, right, at Revit and Isaiah's. And the feedback you got was sensational. We're like, yes, more of this. And in many ways that, whether it's something like this or how we dress, it's an expressions of who we are as our higher self, our creativity. And it's not from the sense of like, oh, this would be a cute personal branding thing. It's more like, I feel awesome with this, and it inspires others more as well. Any ideas of what yours could look like for your tribe, Scotty-O?
I don't know, when you said cape, I thought of maybe we're the Love Crusaders or something. I don't know. Sounds fun. Oh, I'm gonna keep playing with it.
Crusade definitely has a mission to it, right?
All right.
I'd say that checks
Love
out. We're
Life
on a
Crusaders.
crusade. Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Anyone else? What opened up for you? What are you present to? Oh, Matthew Ryan's here. Great to see you, Matthew.
I can share. I absolutely loved how, he had the emojis, dollar, heart, and happy face. So that's the holy trinity of what they want to create. So impact, making money, and staying in your heart.
Recording
and
stopped.
joy. So that was a highlight for me.
Nathan, what's going on there with you?
I know, right? We just heard your whispering, Nathan.
I was agreeing with what you had to just say. The other thought I had was just I ever love the idea of expanding powerful communities that interweave and grow together as such because they interweave.
Yeah, and it happens naturally. What I've noticed is that, us and Scotty-O, we've been friends for almost 2 years. And a lot of our people have gone to his gathering, and, the intertwining has happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gang. Well, if there's nothing else for right now, we'll call today complete. Thank you all for being here and your participation. And may this expand your leadership and open your hearts even more. Much love, be free, and together we rise. Bye for now.
Together we rise. Thank you so much.